Welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, PA. And I have an amazing guest today who's going to take us on a journey of a topic that most of us are really not talking about. He has created something absolutely amazing. And I just knew I had to have him on the show. So find out a little bit more about him. His name is Mario Toruno. He's passionate about health, leadership, and technology. He is the founder and CEO of the first holistic digital health platform called Livyana, which stands for Live, You Are Not Alone. His mission, bring back hope to people's health journeys, or as he calls it, Livyana's journey through community-based interaction. Livyana connects people living similar journeys to produce better health outcomes for caregivers, patients, and wellness-driven individuals. Livyana does this by allowing its members to harness the collective genius of health and wellness experience. He knows how important these connections to a community matters as he battled his Livyana journey of obesity and saw his brother Livyana journey in learning how to adapt to being a type 1 diabetic, just to name a few. Their mission is in Livyana is to bring back hope and love to healthcare journeys, patients, and caregivers. Why, you say? Because once you lose hope as a patient, it can be detrimental to the caregiver. And once you lose hope as the caregiver, it can be detrimental to the patient. By day, he's a successful digital health executive for a D-based consulting firm. As you get to know him, you will come to realize he does business with his heart. We have asked him what he wanted to be known for, and his answer is consistent. I want to be known for making a positive impact in the world, not the money it brings. Oh, let me bring to the stage, to our platform here at BALM, Mario Toruno. Hello, how are you today?
Hey, how you doing, Nikki? How's everything?
Everything is well. I am so glad to have you. I'm finally glad that we were able to connect back in January, even though we've known each other for quite some time. And, I heard you speak through the Connected Leaders Academy and this wonderful program that you have, which we will get into in a moment. But just having that virtual coffee with you and finally getting to know you on a deeper level and what your mission is with this, but not only your heart, has been amazing. So I want to thank you for accepting my invitation to BALM.
No, I want to thank you for being so gracious on me being on the platform. That's a big thing for me. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know how I am with our tribe. Love to highlight and get these topics out there for people to see. But let's go on your journey for a little bit. So before we get into Livyana, tell us what you do again. How did you get to that space, and what really drives you in the entrepreneurial space? Because you're still working a 9 to 5, right? Well, I don't know what hours you work, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
tell us a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in health pretty much my whole career. I mean, 20 years we're talking about. And I've always been in the health side the health tech side of health, right? So supporting hospitals, physicians, the providers, with technology and how to care for patients, throughout the 20 years. Within my realm, I kind of specialize in defense health. So, I've been in the DoD space for a very long time. Um, as far as my journey, one of the things that I've always been passionate about is innovation. How do we innovate in health? How do we create this next level of health, right? Not just for me, but for the people behind me, right? I always tell people, like, for me, it's about, especially for the Latin kids and the Black kids, how do we create that mountain a hill, right? And then how do they create that hill, less of a hill, right? So that we can get better at what we do as a community, right? Both Black and brown. Um, that matters a lot, especially in health, because there's a lot of disparities around health, right? Especially in Black and brown communities, right? So when we're thinking about these types of things, when I'm thinking about innovation outside of my day job, right, I'm thinking about how can we make health better, right, for those individuals, right? Now, it's for everyone, right? But because of my background, because of my wife, because of, who I am, right, I always think of, okay, how can we get there as a community, right? My wife being African from Cameroon, right? And we also do some stuff in Africa as well sometimes, right? If the opportunity presents itself, we definitely, like helping out, considering my wife's background is from there, just like with me in Guatemala, in Ecuador as well. So as this journey happened, you start going through your own health journeys, right? You start saying, okay, as you live, right, someone, seen someone, or gone through something, right, that makes you think of your own health, your own capabilities, right, your own way of doing things, right? So I'll give you me as an example, right? So earlier in the intro, you talked about obesity, right? So what does that really mean, right? So is it morbid obesity? Is it not morbid obesity? I don't know if it was or wasn't. What I do know is that I weigh 350, 60 pounds, right? And what I do know is that when I went to the doctor's office, the blood work came back terrible. I do know that I was close to organ failure because they told me that, right? And blood work doesn't lie, and I knew that I had to change my habits or face a lot more problems, right? So in doing that, I started this journey, with my wife. Thank God my wife at least was around, right? But my wife was there as a caregiver and as a supporter, right? And there were times that I'm sure she got frustrated, right? And there were times that I got frustrated as being, someone going through that Livyana journey, right? But why, right? Because in the way I felt, right, I felt alone. Same like her, I'm sure. You know, I'm here going through this journey and I have no one to connect to, right? There are lots of people that live this journey. I am not the only one in this world that's lost weight, right? For whatever reason it is. But at that moment in time, I was alone because I didn't have that community to tap into. I didn't have, hey, I'm down, man. Like, I'm starving. I can't go on anymore, right? I had to have the mental strength, right? The mental capacity to say, okay, I have to continue, or else boom, 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 right? Because the one thing that I knew that I wasn't going to do was surgery, right? That was the first thing the doc told me. He said, well, you're so big, let's just do surgery. I was like, no, 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 I'm not doing surgery. So I told him, I was like, give me the rules of the game. I can cook, I can do this. Just give me the rules of the game. And I'll never forget it. He gave me literally a sheet of paper, right? Like literally out of your printer, right? A sheet of paper that had, he literally said, anything on here you can eat, anything not on here you can't eat. So it's not on here, don't even eat it because you can't eat it, right? And then he also gave me, the portion sizes, and things of that sort. Which when people reach out to me about the way I did it, I always give back. I always believe in that paying forward thing, right? So I always tell people, if you want to reach out to me, you want to learn how I lost weight, I can coach you through that. Now after all of that, right? Eventually, I lose 130 pounds. My blood work is back to normal, right? My pre-diabetes, and I had no idea how I wasn't diabetic, is not even there anymore, right? My hypertension goes away. All these things that are positive for your body, positive for you as a person, start, going back to what it should be. Now, I tell people all the time when it comes to health, right? Depending on certain conditions, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Especially with obesity. Obesity can come back like that. It's just a matter of how are you treating yourself, right? So when I tell people is because it's a marathon and not a sprint, having that community to tap into, whether you're going through it at the moment or after the moment or even prior to the moment, goes a long way. And one of the frustrations that I've seen and kind of why we created the platform is because it just doesn't exist. The best we got is Facebook groups, and I know we can do better than that, and we did. We did with Livyana.
I love that. Oh my goodness. First of all, Mario, thank you for your story because it's so powerful. And you said a few things that really stood out. First, you are working your day job. Your passion is innovation. You come home and you think about what can I do better? First of all, I want to give you a round of applause for that because sometimes we come home, we're either stressing about what has happened to us in the day. We're not even looking how we can make ourselves better. What can we do to help the world? So I just want to say thank you for having that mindset. That's truly a leadership mindset when it comes to your own life, just being a leader in your own life and how you can serve, and also to use your story in that capacity to really make those things happen, to really like think outside the box. And secondly, you also had your wife as a support through your journey. And I love when you told your doctor, like give it to me straight, no sugarcoating anything. What can I do? That's again a mindset that you're like, okay, I've messed up for so long. How can I fix this? And I'm really determined to fix this because you now realize, and sometimes we wait for stuff to hit the fan before we actually take action. So because of your experience, now you're laying out a foundation that it is now preventative, knowing exactly what to know, right? So thank you so much for that. And it's so powerful how you and your wife are also taking this to the next level, and even having her as a caregiver. I'm personally a caregiver to my parents as well, to my family, actually to everyone in my home. And I can see how if things are not being addressed at the time they're being addressed, it can take a toll on you and really kind of hold you back from continuing that growth or losing faith or different things like that. So those were like the three things that really stood out, but it was absolutely amazing. So now you get you're into creating a platform for those in need of community that are going through the exact same thing. And you mentioned Facebook has so many groups, but nothing compares to Livyana. Tell us about that. How was Livyana birth? Like, what was the true essence and true purpose of it? And, how did you get it off the ground?
Oh man. So birthed. I would say Livyana's idea was conceived, I'd say, about 3 years ago on a dining room table in New York. Um, right after dinner, after the kids were asleep, and me, my brother-in-law, and my wife, who are all in health, different aspects of it. We're thinking, how do we change health? Right. So, for example, my wife's a physician, my her brother-in-law's a physician, and I'm the guy in the background supporting what they do for patients, right, with the technology side. So as we started ideating, right, we kind of recognized, you know, operating within the hospital system, it's kind of already taken care of. There's so many companies out there, that do all these things, right, with AI and robotic process automation, in scheduling different technologies there, you know. But the one thing that I kept coming back to in my head was, and really all of us was, where's the community when you leave? It's just non-existent. And no knock on Facebook, but the best you got is a Facebook group, right? But it's not the platform's not health centric. So what we did, is we started ideating, how do we create this health centric platform? Right? What's the name of it? Right? What's this? What's that? I know the original name was Yana, was just "You're Not Alone," Yana. Um, and then as we started ideating more and started looking at things, my brother-in-law was like, "Well, what about Livyana?" I was like, "Ooh, what do you mean live?" He's like, "Live because you're not alone." I was like, That's it." So my brother-in-law came up with the name actually, right? So live because you're not alone. And then we started, going different ways, trying to figure out how do we build this platform. Me as a technologist, as an engineer, by trade in programming, we were trying to figure out what do we do. Push comes to shove, mistakes happened with the wrong teams. Eventually, I said, you know what? Let me get my people involved, like people that I'm friends with, that I know I can trust and have confidence, and they trust me, and we all have confidence together. And next thing you know, 3 years later, you know, we built it. and then we launched it on actually the AMA platform back in May. For the first time, we launched it last year.
Awesome.
Um, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work on the dev team. It was a lot of engineering hours. It was a lot of thinking outside the box. So as innovators, that's one of the things that we continue to try to do. Right? What's the normal thing to do, and then what's that right turn, or what's that left turn? Right? What's that pathfinder turn, as they say? What's the trailblazer turn, as they say? Right?
Yeah.
And that's how we looked at it. So what we ended up doing was we created this platform that brought a lot more functionality than just groups.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into that in just a moment, because I actually want to dive deep into what it is, what it does, what are the benefits of it, because I actually, went through it when we were at our virtual coffee, and I'm like, oh my God, I have to get on this platform. And we're going to see who it's for. So all that good stuff. So we're going to take a quick break and hear a message from our sponsor. So bear me 1 second and we'll.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Welcome back to Building Leadership Mindset. That was our sponsor, Jose Escobar. Definitely connect with him. This tribe is absolutely amazing, where I connected with Mario as well. So we are talking about Livyana, a platform, a health platform for those that are in need of community after surgery, after finding out a diagnosis, after anything that pertains to receiving some type of news about their health. So Mario, thank you again for, bringing this to life and bringing this to BALM. And so you already let us know, how you got it and how you launched it and when you launched it. What are the benefits for someone who, and you can give us, just some example list. And I think there was another reason why you actually launched it. And I want you to tell that story, because I know you told it to me about your brother. So if you want to share that and then go into, the benefits of this beautiful platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So you heard my story from a patient perspective, right? Now let's go into a caregiver perspective, right? So with my brother, what is it, like 16, 17 years old, he's diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Now, we don't know what the hell diabetes even was. So now we become caregivers to a chronic condition that we have no idea what it is or what it does or anything like that, right? So at that point, my brother, I never forget, he told me his symptoms, and I said, okay, that's weird. You should go to the doc. He walked in, just thinking that something was wrong, nothing that would be like permanent. And he walked out already with a shot of insulin and with a condition that's called type 1 diabetes. And at that point, we all became caregivers to him immediately. That's just the way it rolls. So, as we go through this journey, he sees the frustrations of us, and we see frustrations around him, but there's still no one to talk to. There's still no one to tap. Right. And I'll never forget, I actually I interviewed him on one of the Livyana live sessions that we do. We have our own podcast that's live, and one of the things that he mentioned was a real, very, very real story that I would imagine, Nikki, happens a lot across the board. So he's a type 1 diabetic. He finds out of this support group from the hospital or whoever he was talking to in that world. And he goes to the group. He's extremely excited about going to this group, right? Yeah, I'm going to meet people that relate to my journey, that know what I'm going through, that I can learn from. He walks in that group, and there's no one but a bunch of empty chairs, himself and two people. And the two people there were their people actually running the support group. And he told me how devastated he was in just seeing that, because that was the ultimate feeling of loneliness. He literally went from a support group to a therapy session in a matter of a second. Right?
Yeah,
And he talks about it on a little bit further in the podcast that we have that you guys can check out. But long story short, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And not just from a patient perspective, from a caregiver perspective. We need to stop screaming at the top of the lungs. We're not alone. You're not alone. You are 1,000% not alone.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple people living your journeys. No matter what journey you have, you're not alone. No matter how alone you feel, you're not. The problem is there's no platform to connect to the people that you're not alone with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we built Livyana. We built Livyana so that you can scream at the top of your lungs, you're not alone. Period. And to live because you're not alone. Period.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And again, just being a caregiver, even, my mom just had surgery, a little complication. I take her to and from her appointments. I'm blessed that she's doing great. But it was, again, no support system for me. I was actually at the hospital alone. I was actually, going through the motions, contacting, her loved ones that, are in different locations, having to tell that to, my dad, to, everyone. And then, obviously people are saying, hey, what can you do? But no one's really like calling and say, hey, how are you doing? What can I help you with? And, and I wish, that that was available, and all along it was. And we had a conversation, and I'm like, wow, I need to get this app like yesterday, right? So just the power of knowing that you can go, and I even seen some comments, you share some comments on how people were, interacting, which was such a beautiful thing, because we can tell someone, hey, this is what we're feeling. But they're really not going to know unless they're going through it. And to have a platform where they're all going through it and it's actually pulling you to really have that interaction is beautiful. So tell us a little bit more about the benefits, what's in there, why we should have it, and all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. So, I'll give you an example. I recently had another chat, a podcast chat with one of our partners, recent partners, Africa Healing Foundation, and their founder, Gary. And Gary said something very powerful, right? You kind of just mentioned it. You can sympathize, you can empathize, and you can understand. Depending on what you've gone through, depends on where you fall into those three. Most can sympathize and empathize. Very little can understand. I can be sympathetic with someone going through breast cancer. I can be sympathetic and empathetic with someone going through type 1 diabetes. But I could never understand that patient journey because I have not gone through it.
Right.
Now, I do understand the caregiving journey for diabetes. And I can understand that. But I cannot understand the other side of it. Right? So what does Livyana really do? What does it really bring? And I think someone said it really well the other day when I was talking to them. They said, holy hell, Mario, you've literally built the expert by experience platform. And it's beautifully said. Why? Because a lot of times we think that we have to talk to physicians to get some form of, I want to say objectivity, but some form of like calmness. Oh, the doctor knows. Right? But then a lot of times the doctors don't show the empathy. A lot of times I just say, here's your diagnosis, which is fine. That's what they're there to do. They're there to let you know how to get healthy. Right? But the other side of that is when people understand your journey, they don't have to be a doctor to understand what it is to go through cancer or to understand what it is to go through diabetes, or to understand what worked for them versus not worked for them. Right? And that's the difference. That's what Livyana brings. Where, hey, I'm obese. The doctor said I'm going to get, I'm close to, organ failure, just like Mario. Hey, I'm right here, just like Mario. Mario's on this platform. Mario can tell you what he did so that you don't feel alone. You're not going through this on your own. I'm a 10-year-old kid. Just got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Family's devastated. Guaranteed. Kid scared. But hey, guess what? Mario's here. I've caregiving for a type 1 diabetic. A little bit older, but I can tell you what we did. My brother's on there who lives the journey every day. He can help that 10-year-old easily because you're not alone.
Yeah.
And we have multiple people on the platform, right? And I'm talking about, a little bit harder, conditions, but there are people on that platform talking about migraines. Lots of people go through migraines. Lots of people go through migraines. And guess what? There are people on that platform say, hey, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And the difference with what we did with Livyana is, a lot of times I talk about Nextdoor. So Nextdoor builds communities by zip code. Lots of us have Nextdoor, especially when you first move in, because you don't know what's around. You don't know what restaurants are there. You don't know what services are there. So you're trying to figure it out. Nextdoor is great for that. We do the same thing, but by health condition. We build communities by health condition. Now, at a holistic manner, what does that mean? That means that we take into account all forms of health. It's not just for the patient. It's not just for the caregiver. It's for wellness communities as well, health enthusiasts as well. It is literally the go-to platform for all of health. Like today, we're partnering with Africa Healing Foundation to give the African community where they serve a platform to connect, to not feel alone in their journeys. Where it goes back to what I said earlier, right? Trying to close that disparity.
Yeah.
And anyone from a Latin American country or African country can sympathize with that, because the journeys are not the same. It's much harder over there. From terrain to access. Now, if you go further, right, we've built components into it that always thought of one thing and one thing only: love. Love and hope. Hope is the second thing, but love is the first thing, because there's always love around the patient and caregiver. What gets lost is hope as frustrations occur. And if you look at our logo, there's a massive heart in the middle on purpose. It's not on accident. So what we ended up doing was we created features in there that allow you to immediately connect with people living your condition. When you're down, you just hit that SOS button, that source of strength button. And you just say, hey, I'm down. And it will shoot to everyone on the platform. Well, not everyone, a set amount of people on the platform, randomized. They're living your condition or going through your condition as a caregiver or as a patient, right? There are things that we did in that platform where you can actually easily do things in figuring out, connecting with your community. Now from an organizational perspective, right? We talked a little bit about Africa Healing. We're also working with another group called Reinvent the Woman Conference, right? And they're like a retreat conference, a wellness retreat conference, right? They're using Livyana for a lot of their pre and post work. Bringing that wellness into this community, bringing that health into this community, right? Like any other platform, the larger we become, the more communities we have, the better it benefits all of us. Because here's the kicker, Nikki. Here's the reason. I went through obesity. My brother went through diabetes. But there are a lot of things that I learned from him and he learned from me. And we're not the same journey. And that's what I'm about. I'm about the collective genius of people. Harnessing the collective genius of people's knowledge. That's the innovation around Livyana. That's where the hope comes from. That's where the love comes from. where they can hug each other.
Oh my goodness. You got me emotional here. I don't know if you can tell, because you're so passionate. You're so passionate because, I'm going through the same thing too. And I know a lot of people are. And just that SOS button, like I'm just down and I need one. And oh my goodness, I didn't think I was gonna cry. But this is real. This is something that we are all going through right now. And or most of us, and sometimes we don't know who's going through it. So I'm just hoping that this reaches the masses, because I'm just in awe of what you created. And I'm just so happy that you were able to get on here and really share that message and that journey, because goodness, I'm gonna have to get some tissues in this area.
No, it's fine. I mean, no, but I really thank you, for your comments. It's the team. It's not just me. It's the team. We all thought about this together, and we all executed this together.
Yes. Well, I would love one day to actually meet the whole team, as many as you can introduce me to, because I believe that this is genius. This is something just beyond, I know there's plenty of platforms out there, plenty of things, but what you have created and the way you have just thought each and every aspect around it. And I've been in healthcare for 15 years, so I definitely know, what people go through on both side, patient care, providers, physicians, social worker, just all those type of things. And I think that this can actually reach, some of the caregivers that are not really just family, but also those people that have to go into the homes and make sure that these patients are taken care of. My mom was blessed to not need as many services because she has me. And but they did come out, they did have a heart of gold. They were, checking that out. But it's still, if they don't need the services, that does not mean that, their psyche, their mental health, their heart, depression, just things, especially when they can't move around, when they can't, really do something, or they have to depend on other people. So knowing that this platform exists and that it is going to continue to change lives, I'm just in awe of it. And I definitely support it. Definitely going to use it for myself. And then definitely going to share it. So thank you so much, Mario. How can people get a hold? I know we have the website on the screen, but how can people get a hold of you if they just want some more information, or even to tag team with you on just anything that we can do to make this world a better place with this platform?
Yeah. So you can email me at mario.toruno, which you should see on the screen, at livyana.com. In the other component, I didn't get too much into it, is we are a paid platform. And that's on very intentional. And a lot of people ask me, well, Mario, why? Why is this a paid platform? And I said, what's the cost of doing business on Facebook and LinkedIn and Nextdoor? Your data. Your data is how they make their money to continue their platform. We're not in the business of selling health data. And we will never want to be in the business of selling health data. That is why we charge for our platform. Because we don't sell your data. We need to help support the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. That's powerful as well. I just know, just when I do a search on Google, Facebook always pulls everything that I just searched. So those are things that are definitely, and I just heard something as well. Oh my goodness, I forgot what it was, and I thought it was very powerful. And this is why it's so important to just realize, first of all, our health is priceless. It's something that we need to protect anyway. It's something that if we're feeling down, we absolutely need. We need that support, that community, especially for most that don't have it in the home. And even when you do have it in the home and you're on that other side of that spectrum, you want to make sure that you are well supported in any area, because now you have this platform, because you might receive a new diagnosis or know of someone that might receive a new diagnosis. You go straight on this platform and research it based on what people are talking about. So that's just amazing. I mean, we can do Google all day, but it's, again, not going to give us that support. It's just going to give us raw data, straight black and white information, steps to create it, but it's not going to help your heart or your mind through this journey. So I say definitely connect with Livyana, check it out, go on the website, and any final words, Mario, for our community? And again, I just want to thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys with this. I'm gonna walk through what you just talked about, Nikki. So I'm gonna give you two quick perspectives: patient and caregiver. I'm a patient. Go to the doctor, right? Or not even before the doctor. My throat hurts. Let me go on Google and say, "Oh, my throat feels like total crap." What happens? WebMD pops up, and all these things pop up, and the first thing it says is, you're gonna die. I mean, that's literally like the end result of everything that you search, right? So now your mental health just took a massive blow, which also impacts your physical health, by the way. Then you go to the doctor, and you find out what you got as a patient, right? Then you tell your family, caregivers, and what do? Oh, crap. I don't know what's going on. What is, boom, 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 right? Or, true story, what is type 1 diabetes? Oh, they can lose their legs. They can lose their arms. They can lose this. They can lose that. So now what do you think? Oh, crap. He's in a matter of a year, he's going to be an amputee, right? Because people think in extremes a lot of times, especially when it comes to loved ones. That's why they always tell providers, don't treat your loved ones, because you will overtreat them most likely, right? Mm-hmm. So what's Livyana there for is exactly that. Instead of going on the Google, get on a platform where there are patients, where there are caregivers, where there are people in wellness helping people live conditions through conditions or with conditions. Because some conditions will end and others won't. And that's a reality. But when a condition does end, it doesn't mean the journey stops. Because again, in health, it's a marathon and not a sprint. Always. And that's what I'll leave you guys with.
My heart is full. My cup is full. And thank you so much, Mario, again, for joining the BALM family and bringing Livyana to this platform. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm truly in honor of everything that you have done. I can't wait to see more. I think there's a few things coming up soon that you are working on. So super excited about that. And this is, again, I just have to stress, because we're building leadership mindset here, right? This is someone that, has a full-time job, is in the industry of healthcare, and is just looking for other ways to make this world better. And to be able to do that, that's what we all actually should be doing. Any field that we're in, how we can make it better, because it's really our generation to come, so that they can be knowledgeable, educated with all these services that are available to them, and know that they are not alone. So thank you so much, Mario. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast, brought to you by the Connected Leaders Academy. And if you want to connect with me, you can connect with me at www.buildingaleadershipmindset.com. Thank you and have a great day.